Hello, everybody.
All right, I'm not sure if everybody knows Chelcee. Chelcee is our chief medical technician officer person. And her stewardship is for K through all the way up through the high school. You do have another person that works with you. Her name is?
Marilyn Perez.
Marilyn Perez, and she's over at the PLA, Paideia Liberal Arts Academy campus, taking care of that. Yesterday or the day before, Chelcee and I were discussing where we are in the pandemic and the numbers, and I wasn't aware of how extreme things had gotten. And so we suggested that we just hold a weekly or so Friday morning chat so that you could hear what the update is, because every Thursday, Chelcee and I attend Maricopa County
meeting.
So we just thought we'd just give you some updates. And you can drink your coffee and I'll drink mine.
So I had a PowerPoint, but obviously my computer decided it didn't want to work this morning. But glad to see you all here. I wanted to start off, these numbers are based off of the last week all the way up until January 13th. So Maricopa County is starting off with, we have had over 1,716 cases per 100 people in our community, or in our county, I would say.
Per 1,000.
Per 1,000. So they're putting our percentage rate at about 33.4%. Usually we want to try to stay close to the 10% range before we can kind of, ease on this whole pandemic that's kind of blown up. Next, I know a few.
So let me talk about, I want to ask you about those numbers again.
Okay.
So in the Maricopa County Department of Health and CDC has a range, right? They have from mild spread to moderate to substantial and to maybe extreme. There's 4 levels and my brain is old. So the extreme for inhibiting, or we're not shutting down schools, but for making sure that we are really cognizant and that we don't have after school activities, and we're exercising all of our mitigation strategies, is 100 per 100,000. We're at nearly 2,000 per 100,000.
Yeah.
The infection rate, if it's above 10% per 100,000, then that's significant risk of spread. And we're at, what'd you say?
Right now we're at 1,716 per 100,000, so 33.4%.
33.4% infection rate.
I know this morning on Arizona Department of Health, they were saying about 1 in every 3 people right now are testing positive. So we just want to make sure we're kind of staying up on masking. If anybody's feeling sick, kind of stay out. We want to take care of everybody at the school and keep everyone safe as we continue to ride this wave.
Now, Chelcee, on Monday night, I was here working late, or Tuesday, and I got a Facebook video chat for my grandkids up in Flagstaff, and my son and his wife both tested positive for COVID last Friday, and so they just want to let me know that they tested positive and that it was the Omicron, but they said it was just like a cold, that they just stayed home. And my second grader and my kindergarten granddaughters both became a little bit ill with some like a cough and just some respiratory things, but nobody was hospitalized, which I'm so thankful for. And they were all just had to do their quarantine when I was talking to them. They all looked and sounded great. Okay. So I know that the infection rate's going up, but it seems like the hospitalizations and the severity of it is not going up.
Bad. Yeah, so that's what they're definitely letting us know, that compared to Delta or some of the other variants we've had, Omicron is definitely very transmissible, but is not as severe. It's going to probably feel like a pretty bad cold. If anything, maybe close to a flu. But if you are, compromised or have any severe health conditions, you want to just be extra cautious. I mean, I encourage everybody to be extra cautious anyway, but we just really want to, like I said, take care of our community.
Yeah.
I'm still sorry. I'm losing my voice this morning.
So pay really close attention to what Chelcee is going to talk about, because she wants to make sure we all understand about quarantine and isolation.
Yes.
And there's some really confusion and some frustration out there, but let's clear that up a little bit. Yeah.
Sounds good to me. So we'll start off with isolation versus quarantine. So the difference between the two are isolation is specifically for people who have tested positive or are exposed and have symptoms without a test result. So if you have tested positive or are exposed to someone who has tested positive, are symptomatic, and you are pending test results, that's when you need to isolate for 5 days. For quarantine, quarantining is for people who have close contact exposure to COVID-19 and have no symptoms. What they are still suggesting is that everyone who is exposed and are unvaccinated to go ahead and quarantine for 5 days. If you are symptomatic and you have not received a test, gotten a test, or pending results, you need to go ahead and quarantine or isolate for 5 days. I'm sorry. They're also saying that this is kind of confusing, but if you have had a PCR test, you have to isolate for 5 days. But if you have what they call—
Can you tell me what a PCR? I get those all mixed up.
Yes, PCR is usually when they just do a nose swab. And the other test is called a serology test. It's when they usually take blood from you.
Okay.
Those, it sounds kind of crazy, but if you've had a PCR, you do have to isolate for 5 days. And if you've had a serology test, again, where blood is taken from you, if you're vaccinated, you don't have to isolate, which sounds insane.
That does sound insane, but
we want to, again, stay safe. And if you are having symptoms, please, please, please stay home.
Let's go back to that. One of the challenges we have is embarrassing to me a little bit, but a child will go over to Miss Pullam and say, hey, my dad or my mom tested positive. And we ask the question like, then what are you doing at school, right? Tell us about that.
All the time. We have gotten plenty of scholars who come to us, or a teacher or me or myself or Dr. Winsor, saying that one of their family members has tested positive in-house and that they are still here at school. Sometimes these scholars do have symptoms. And so we have to go ahead and try to keep the scholar in the nurse's office and track down family members and see if the given information was correct. And sometimes it's not, sometimes it is. So we're trying to do a good job of going ahead and correcting issues and keeping scholars home who have been exposed or are having symptoms. I completely understand that it is frustrating. We understand you all have to work, we have to work. We understand that this is around the nation right now. So if we can all work together with this thing, and like I said, just keep strong to ride this wave, we will get through this together.
So let's be really clear. If anyone in your household tests positive
and you are unvaccinated, you need to stay home.
Got you. Okay, there you go. If someone in your household tests positive and anybody in there who is not vaccinated has to stay home for the
5 days.
5 days.
After the 5th day, also, I forgot to add this, after the 5th day, you can test to see if you are test positive for COVID, which brings up another point, if you don't mind. We are low on tests. This is nationally. There's a national shortage of tests. Right now, we are working on getting some more when the state is able to provide some, but they are going to hospitals and first responders first.
Which makes sense.
Yeah, so, and I understand lines are long, but if we can get those tests done, that's great. If you just can't get the test done, I would advise stay home for 5 days until you feel better. All right.
Now, we do have some supports for you. If you're in quarantine or isolation and your kids are at home. At the Baseline campus, we received a grant, and with the grant, I purchased 300 Chromebooks. And those are for checkout purposes to be used at home. So if your child, or if you even want one for family, please. But if you want one, go to the Baseline campus and see Mr. Coburn, and you can sign out a Chromebook just for your family for these isolation and quarantine times, so your scholar doesn't miss too much work.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's awesome. All right, let's move on. So as far as the variant types that are going around right now, they have let us know that Omicron is literally just
Dang it.
knocking everybody out as far as what they're testing positive for. We're at a 95.7% for Omicron. And I know this is in black and, well, gray, but there's a slight line right here. That little line at the very bottom, if you guys can see it, that is Delta. So Delta has gone down significantly, and we are strictly with Omicron right now.
Omicron kicking Delta's butt. Well, I mean, there's some good news in that, because Delta was very virulent. I mean, it was very severe.
Yes, very, very much.
It was
so.
much more of a severe viral infection, and Omicron is less severe.
Yes.
Now, it's still putting people in hospital, so I don't want to minimize that, but it's less severe. So I'm thankful for that, at least.
Definitely. And what we want to encourage right now is for scholars to get the vaccine.
Please.
As you know, or may have heard or may not have heard, that when you get the vaccine, how bad COVID affects you, I'm sorry, is a lot less severe. Your chances of having to go to the hospital have gone down significantly.
Now, so my son and his wife are both double vaccinated and have their booster.
Nice.
So I think that, that plays a big part, and they just stayed home over the weekend and just coughed and, and just were a little bit miserable. They'd eaten soup, but they didn't go to the hospital.
Yes, sir.
And they're all vaccinated. I'm vaccinated, and I'm boosted, people.
Yeah.
In more ways than one, because I've got my coffee here.
I'm gonna need one of those later. So we're seeing new information as far as Pfizer. So as you all know, Pfizer is open for anybody 12 years and older. When you should get boosted after Pfizer, and I believe Pfizer is doing booster shots for teens now, 12 to 17 years old. So you should be getting a booster shot at least 5 minutes after completing the complete vaccination series. So that's after you received your second shot. And then you want to count 5 days after that, 5 months, I'm so sorry, after that to receive your booster shot. Moderna is still only for 18 years and older. And again, they're doing a booster shot with Pfizer as well. Johnson & Johnson is for everyone who is 18 years and older as well, with a booster shot for Pfizer. So if you need anything, if you guys need any information regarding that, I will be putting up some more. I'll put up basically my PowerPoint that I had for you all today with this information.
Now, I see that there's some questions coming through, so thank you so much. And what we'll do is in about 5 minutes, the last 10 minutes, we're just going to open that up to any chat questions or raising hands. Chat questions are usually a little easier for us to look at and see. So yeah, keep that going.
Nice. I love that. And then to end it all, well, actually, I'll say this first. I will also include, this is a quarantine and isolation, not this one, sorry, guide as far as for all parents to look at if you are confused on isolation and quarantine, and if you're feeling symptoms. They have this little table here where you can kind of answer, yes, I have symptoms, go down to the next box, and it's, quarantine or isolation.
That's in Spanish too, if I remember right.
In Spanish as well, yes, sir. All right, so the last thing I want to say is,
come on, people,
let's protect ourselves. Let's keep the mask on our face. Let's encourage our scholars to wear masks. We are having a pretty good time with keeping scholars masked up. We have plain masks here that we're providing for them.
But if you could please bring masks.
Yes.
We go through probably 200 masks a day, and they become litter. but if you could make sure you send your kids with a mask, that's great. Now, one thing that my sweet wife got me and her was just this lanyard. so that my mask is always on. And as we traveled across the country, I just kept my mask. And as I was driving, whenever I just put it like this, and then going to the store, I always remembered that I had it on. So little lanyards like this, that would be good too. It's a really handy thing.
It is. It actually does work too, because a lot of scholars get to just keep that mask on their chest. They don't have to worry about dropping it anywhere or losing it on campus at all. So that one, wear a mask. Two, let's get vaccinated.
Please.
Please. Let's get those booster shots going, as well as we want to make sure we stay very just hygienic.
Hey, let me ask you about vaccination,
Yes,
Chelcee. How many reports do you have of vaccination?
Right now, I've only received about 19 reports for scholars getting vaccinated.
I know there's more though, because I have lots of kids coming to me.
Yeah, and we have a couple of kids that have been excited to let us know. So if you have not sent the office staff, me, or any of our staff a notice that your scholar has been vaccinated, I encourage you to do so. My email, I will include this on maybe Dojo or on this chat, so that you guys can shoot those vaccination cards to me. I can plug it in our system, and that way, if your scholar does get sick, or they're exposed to someone in the house, they don't have to go home. They can stay here. Okay. Again, and another thing that Maricopa County is saying, we want to make sure everyone doesn't touch your eyes, don't touch your nose. We want to keep our hands washed.
Yeah.
As best as we can.
Can I ask you about masks? So there's some discussion about cloth, paper, ventilator, N95s. Yeah. What's your counsel with masks?
So honestly, what we're dealing with right now is any mask is obviously better than no mask. And they are letting us know that these surgical masks, the cloth masks, they still work. They're preventing the spread as much as they can, but you want to keep that mask tight to your face. Yeah. So you want to make sure you have a mask that's nice and closed, and preventing the spread. Now, if you do have holes in your masks or anything, I encourage you to maybe double up if you are able to. The N95 masks are great. I know that they have been out of stock recently because they're going to hospitals and things of that nature. But yeah, anywhere you go, inside, or if you're in a big group of people.
I remember yesterday they said something about that little that little metal piece or whatever.
Yeah, we want to make sure there's a mask with a metal piece on the top so that we can close off, because we don't want air to go out and we don't want air to come in, or the virus. So keep the mask on tight if you can. Gotcha.
Okay. All right. Are you any other ideas? Okay, so we have some questions coming out, and please feel free to. Okay, so here's a question. What if someone in the home tests positive and the child's vaccinated? Yeah, so I think, go ahead and review that again.
Yeah, of course. If your child is completely vaccinated, meaning they've gotten their full series, both shots of the vaccine, they are more than welcome to stay at school as long as they don't have symptoms. As soon as symptoms start, that's when we want to go ahead and send them home. We will still test them after the 5th day. Okay. And go ahead, I'm sorry.
Okay, the next question is several similar ones. Is there an online option now? As for Paideia, the executive team and the corporate board made the decision not to do an online option. It's just not what we do. We're not good at it. And having some online and some in the class has just been, we're not good at it. So some parents, it makes me sad, but I support their decision that they have withdrawn from us and gone to a pure online learning school. And then when things come down, they will come back to Paideia, and that's perfectly fine in this time. So as of now, now, as I said it earlier, we bought 300 brand new, beautiful Chromebooks that are ready. You just have to, if you could just limit to one per family, those are really just to stay home. Your scholars don't have to bring it back and forth at all. No. Just keep it home and use it there. And dads and moms, it's not for you. This is for the kids. So that'll help support if there is any need. All right, so I can't read that close. Is there, what's the next one?
Which one, this one?
Yeah.
It says, is there any number that if we get at, if we get at, you will close the school? I think they're asking when we close the school.
Yeah. So go ahead. I mean, I think that Chelcee communicates with the Maricopa County Department of Public Health, and they guide us into quarantining classes or whatever.
Yes. Yep. So for any results that we receive or any notifications as far as positive results, we do keep in contact with Maricopa County. We have to do a report every single time there's somebody that's positive. So they continue to keep in contact with us all the time as far as letting us know if we're going to outbreak status or if there's more that we need to do. As far as right now, we have hit some numbers, but they haven't really said to do anything out of the ordinary that we're already doing now.
No.
Yeah.
No. If there's not going to be a school-wide shutdown that I can imagine. Now there might be a classroom. Yeah. You know, that kind of thing, but not a school-wide. All right. At what stage are you providing Chelcee spoke about self-test kits?
Yes, testing kits. Again, for the testing kits, we had a ton of them last week. And of course, with cases rising, they went like that. Again, we are waiting for the state and the county to kind of give whatever they can. But again, those test kits are going to hospitals and first responders first. So when we get some, we'll try to let you guys know if we can, but I don't know how soon those will be available.
Yeah. All right, you go ahead and read the next one.
All right, so it's need to send in their shot record to verify that the kids are vaccinated. Yes, please, please, please send them to me. Contact me anytime you need to. For the shots, anytime we get those, I have to input them into the system so that if they are exposed, I can look and see, okay, they're vaccinated, they don't have to go home. So yes, please send those shot records to Paideia or to me myself, C. Pullam at paideiamail.com.
I do remember on another webinar that's not with the Maricopa County Department of Public Health, but this other webinar I attended through the CDC indicated that once an organization, a self-contained organization, and they were careful not to say a school or a company, reaches a 75% vaccination rate inside of that company, that's when they said that the company or organization could start relaxing some of the mask mandates and relaxing some of these heavy duty things that we're doing. So the more vaccination, the more we're able to do. All right, any other ones?
Yes, it says if too many cases come to the school, will you change to online?
Yeah, we answered that one. No, we're not going to go online, and there's been a couple of parents who they didn't swear at me, but I'm sure they felt like swearing at me, and I'm frustrated too. But it's just we don't do it well. We don't, and it's a huge burden on a teacher to figure out. I've got 3 or 4 kids online, or half online, half on campus. Last year we tried to figure out, just give an option, and it was like 40% of parents wanted to keep their kids home and 60 at school. There was no way to evenly divide that, and then it wasn't all the same grade level. So dividing the task of teaching was just impossible logistically. There's lots of online schools in Arizona, lots of them, and I would hope that a parent would come back if they feel like they need to do that, which I support them in that decision.
Of course, of course. I see another question that says, can I please, we'll repeat my email for you.
Oh, there we go.
The email is cpullam, CPULL.
All right, go ahead, just you type it in.
Include it in the chat, give me 1 second. Where am I? Okay. At paideiamail.com. Pullam at paideiamail.com. That looks about right. I will enter that in.
There you go.
Emails in the chat, guys.
I can't read that one.
Yes, nurse at the school, or how are you associated with Paideia? Yes, ma'am.
Good question.
I am the school medical technician at Paideia. So if there's any health concerns, health issues, health questions, please reach out to me. I'm available Monday through Friday.
Yes. And I have to congratulate Chelcee on creating a great culture in our medical and health portion of Paideia. It's a great place of love and happiness, even amidst the stress of Paideia. So thank you, Chelcee.
Thanks, Dr. Winsor.
All right, any other questions? Let's see.
If a scholar is positive, is whole class notified? So no, we
good
only do scholars who are within 6 feet and have been around the positive scholar for more than 15 minutes. That's technically, we'll notify the parents and go from there. If the scholar is vaccinated, who's been exposed, again, they can stay at the school, and then we'll test on the 5th day or after the 5th day.
I'm going to create a quick poll because I would like to know something. Is it even possible?
Oh, nice question.
Hey, keep asking questions. I'll get the thing.
Oh,
Yes.
things, you can't see the questions, but it's all good. Again, guys, I just want to reassure you that we all know it's very frustrating. All schools are going through it. So we're just taking it a day at a time. I see Dr. Windsor's got his poll ready.
It's gone. So it's really, I'd just like to know, would you like to keep these coffee chats going? And what I'd like to do is invite Chelcee back to answer questions, or invite different community members to give us information about health and wellness. And when we're all done with this pandemic, we can sit on the patio and have some coffee and some bagels. Continue it up.
I see a question down here. How are we handling the symptoms of the Omicron from COVID? Are children being sent home because of coughs and sniffles? So they are encouraging. They are encouraging us to go ahead and send scholars home with any symptoms, as far as sniffles, cough. Some symptoms I've weirdly seen have been like bad stomach aches, and we had this before with Delta. I'm not technically sending scholars home for stomach aches, but just keep an eye out on that, parents, please. But yes, as far as COVID symptoms on Omicron, do you mean as far as if they're handling symptoms? Yeah, we're just sending scholars home for those type of symptoms. How do you decide 6 feet? My scholars in kindergarten.
Oh, yeah. That's a great question.
His classmates at any point in the day. Yes, ma'am. So the question is, how do you decide 6 feet? My scholar is in kindergarten, and I feel like he could be near any of his classmates at any point in the day. Yet that we all are in agreement with you. We do try to keep the scholars 6 feet apart. They will have different exercises or things in the classroom that they will do, but teachers are pretty on it as far as keeping that spacing. And if anything, they take the kids outside.
Yeah, we do a lot of outside stuff, and especially kindergarten.
Yes.
I think I know this mom. I didn't know her little guy, and kindergarten's like sometimes herding cats and chickens, and so you're right. It's difficult, and keeping their masks on is a key thing.
Yes,
definitely. Key thing.
I see somebody said they missed the first portion of this. How do we go back to watch?
Hey, great question. I'm gonna set this up. I'm gonna edit it a little bit today, and then I'm gonna put it on our YouTube channel. I'll link the YouTube channel to our Facebook page and Dojo, and then every week it seems like a lot of people would like us to continue this pattern. Friday morning, 8:30. I'll drink my coffee and I'll have a guest to enlighten us. You all know my email address. So actually go ahead and type mine in, bwindsor@PaideaMail, because I can't really see right now. I fog up my glasses. And if you have any topics, you have any questions you'd like us to address on that Friday morning coffee chat, then email me those and I'm happy to chat with you. Hey, in closing up, I want to just thank our community for your support, of specifically me, and generally speaking of Paideia. I mean, I love this place. I built this place, and I love everyone here. And so many, I look down this list of moms and dads and grandpas and grandmas, and I think, oh, I love these people. So stay with us, be patient, communicate, and we will be back here Friday,
Yep.
8:30, and we'll see you then. Thank you, everybody.